And then this is a checklist that is not due January 21st. It's due a week from the first day of class. So that I think is September 1st. I'll make sure that this is corrected. But this tells me by signing this or typing your name in and dating it that you have read the syllabus, and that if you have any questions, you will have asked them to me before you submit this. So that's my long syllabus. Now let's have a look at Blackboard. This is announcements. This was a short video I published a couple weeks ago. Hopefully you had a chance to look at it. Oh, look, I used Hogwarts then. Maybe I'll use it again. Under syllabus, this is the current events sign-up sheet. So it's a Google Doc, and you can go in and pick 2 dates. So we'll start doing current events on September 8th. It's another copy of the syllabi. Here's some things to help you when you are researching topics. These are reputable sources. Right? These are some examples of sources that I use for information. I want you to use for information. Please note that any reference, any source that you find that's on this list is not reputable. So be careful. Here are some sets from a previous class because you should have an idea what you're getting into. Course documents is kind of the meat of the class. Each topic that we cover has a folder. Infection and immunity, these will all be in order, but infection and immunity will be our second topic. So there's a video that I want you to watch, or we may watch in class. Topics for you to, articles for you to read, but I also publish the slides as well as a study guide for each topic. So you have those in each one of these folders. So for example, for our classes, the first 2 classes, we'll meet, we'll talk, we'll go over a couple of poll questions. I'll find out some things about you. And then for the second class, I want you to watch this video on credibility and scientific inquiry. It's also something I showed in my nutrition class. It's an introduction to developing critical thinking skills. And we'll have a class activity. Here are some more sources for when you are doing your research project or just to have for you. I have a podcast for you to listen to. This should probably be cocktail chatter. And I forgot to go over cocktail chatter in the syllabus. I listened to a podcast called the Slate Political Gabfest. And at the end of every Gabfest, they have cocktail chatter. That one piece of information that you want to share with your friends when you're having drinks, if you are over 21. Cocktail chatter is something that I find interesting, that I would like you to find interesting, but you do not have to study it. You don't have to read cocktail chatter. It's not going to be on the exam. So if we're going over something, rather than say, excuse me, is that going to be on the exam? I would like you to say, is that cocktail chatter? Because it sounds a lot better. So in this case, this article on PMS probably could be cocktail chatter, but I put it under listen because she actually uses the scientific method in helping people figure out whether or not eating meat makes premenstrual syndrome worse. Okay, and then actually under cocktail chatter are a lot of things because I think things are really interesting. Okay, so these are course documents. These are all the different topics we'll be covering during the semester. You probably already figured this out by now if you haven't had a Zoom class, but if you're watching this video, this will be the ID that you use to get into our class. Hopefully by now, you've made a Flipgrid. Then I have Padlets, which are kind of a toy. As you can see, I started playing with it, and I may ask you some questions. If you see this and you've already posted, I ask, what's your favorite quarantine food? Assignments to your good health is the assignment where you do the group presentation. Actually, I call it a group skit. This is the sign-up sheet. These are important dates, and I will be nudging you towards them, making sure that we stay up with them. September 10th, we're going to discuss this in class. This is sign-up date. I ask you to submit some ideas for me. So in other words, you're signing up for a general topic. I want to know what ideas you have in that specific topic. I want to talk to you about it. I want you to give me 3 to 4 references that you're using to put your information together. And I ask you to go back to the syllabus and to introductions to look at the information so that you know that your sources are legitimate. This is the last day that you'll talk to me about it, that I'll have for you to review the information you're going to present and how creatively you'll be presenting it, whether it's an interesting way of presenting a skit online. I've had people do some creative stuff in the spring, and I'm happy to share that with you. On the day of the presentation, you will send me 3 questions and 3 answers, objective questions that I can put on the exam. I'll post a document called colleague questions. I'll have 3 questions from each group, and I will pick one from each group, and it'll be on the final exam. These are instructions, and we'll go over this and the rubric on which I use to grade you, and a group evaluation. If you feel that you're all pulling your weight evenly, everybody gets the same grade. But if you feel that somebody is not doing their work, I need at least 2 evaluations giving me specific information about that person, and they will get a lower grade. That's these assignments. I'm sorry, that's this assignment. And then these are the assignments for each of the topics that we cover. The 2 that I said there are 2 that everybody does. So we have a family tree that I ask you to do for this topic, and we'll discuss it the second day that we're on this topic, as well as the body image. When we cover body image and eating disorders, there's a collage that you can submit it to me through Turnitin, but you'll also have a copy of it, and we'll use it for discussion. You'll get into breakout groups, and then we'll get into the classroom and we'll talk about it. And then you can pick any 2, right? Any of these others that might be of interest to you. And most of the time, there's something that I want you to read, and I ask you to write 1 to 2 pages on the information that you've learned in the assignment. Let's see, one of the ones that I really like, and down here with, for example, alcohol, there is a site that you click on different parts of the body and you find out how alcohol affects those parts of the body, and then I ask you to write about it. The only way you don't get full credit is if you use the word etc. And if you've read the syllabus before we talk about it in class, you'll know that that's one of my pet peeves. Well, that's pretty much it, because you aren't going to be handing it in with those little rabbit ears. And when I would make sure people had staplers or clips to make sure that they kept them together. Spelling is important, right? You should have the information, words correctly spelled, but I'm more interested in that you share with me what you've learned. Discussion boards that I have for reviewing for the midterm and the final are not part of your grade, but this is where you'll find them. When I do other discussion boards, the questions will be posted here, and I ask you to participate in some of them, and we'll flesh that out as the semester comes closer. Private journals. Everybody's going to have a color or a number assigned to them. I'm not sure yet. I think that this was being made when I'm learning how to use this tool. But again, the journals will be helpful for me to know how I'm doing and to know how you're doing. And it will also give you a chance to tell me what's confusing, what you liked, what you didn't like about the topic, what else you would like to learn. So I think that's about it for the syllabus. So I'll see you in class. Thanks.